Good morning from Los Angeles, LA Pipe Smoker, with a review of Jess Chonowitsch's T17. This is the so-called Scottish blend. It's kind of interesting doing a little research on the term Scottish blend. There seems to be a great deal of disagreement. The one thing that everybody seems to agree upon is that a Scottish blend is a kind of an Oriental forward blend. In other words, the Oriental is the dominant element of that tobacco. So at any rate, I enjoy Oriental blends, so I thought we would take a smoke with this together and give it a sense of at least my impression of it. I certainly don't have any kind of special palate. Got this has been sitting around probably for about a year. As you know, I kind of had a little hiatus in my presentations, and I'm just kind of rejoining the YTPC as a presenter. So this has been sitting around for about a year, I guess. I can't really determine exactly when this was manufactured, but I'll read the ingredient notes or ingredient list for you. It says double broad cut light and dark Virginias. This is my favorite. Old belt plug. Boy, you know, you got to be made of stern stuff to want to smoke something that has old belt plug in it. I suspect it's it's kind of a reference to plug tobacco. Old belt comes off the car. I have this vision of somebody kind of using pressed tobacco as a way to run their alternator in their car. I know it's a very odd thing. At any rate, there's some old belt plug in here. We'll have to take a look as I unpack this. Macedonia and Latakia, or Latakia. Cool and slow burning, that's what they say. It's a Scottish mixture with full flavor. Sometimes these 10 descriptions are a bit vague, but that's okay. So we got the gist of it, the gist of Jess Chonowitsch's. By the way, tobacco is quite affordable. This is a 50-gram tin, and it goes for, I think it's under $15. I think you can pick this up for under $15. So unlike the beautiful, wonderfully handmade pipes of Jess Chonowitsch, I don't own any of them. They're all a little outside of my price range. I'm afraid if I'm ever going to smoke a Jess Chonowitsch pipe, it's going to have to be from an estate sale probably. So let me give you a look at this. I've already popped the tin. And yeah, right away I'm getting very much a kind of an Oriental spicy smell. Oh, how convenient. It seemed to have stuck. So you can kind of look at the don't know how you would describe this cut. Probably looks like a shag cut. It's not particularly moist. It seems to have, you all know what Latakia or Latakia smells like. It's kind of a, you know, campfire-ish type of thing. It has that, but there's a sweetness to it that I associate with Oriental blends. So yeah, so there is definitely, I can definitely smell the Latakia, but there's something sweet in addition to that, which is very appealing. It's one of the reasons I really like Oriental blends. It has that kind of sweet and smoky kind of aroma for me. And I'll hold this up to you so you can see how it looks. You can see obviously some of the Virginias in there. All right, let's light it up. I'm smoking my Altanach Meerschaum pipe. I've had this for, well, how long have I had this baby? Probably a couple of years now, and it's colored quite a bit. You can see the shank, and that's pretty typical. The shank colors up this and this manner, and then this is turned into kind of a darker eggshell color. It was bright white when I first got it, and it smokes wonderfully. It's really a nice Meerschaum pipe. It's also, I'll show you, it's a 9mm Meerschaum, which some people might think is kind of overkill because Meerschaums tend to absorb a lot of the moisture anyway, and the pipe itself acts almost as a filter. But I just prefer filter pipes for the most part. I have plenty that don't have filters on them. But I do enjoy smoking for the first time a mixture in the meerschaum because it doesn't have a cake in it. You keep the cake out of a meerschaum, and you get a more honest smoke. In other words, you're getting more of the tobacco, and you're not getting so much the flavorings or the remnants, the ghosts of former tobaccos. So I use my meerschaum always for a new blend to try to get a sense or essence of the new blend. So let me pack my pipe and get her lit. It's not particularly moist. It's just about perfect. The way I usually gauge the moistness or the suitability of a tobacco is I'll take it and I'll squeeze it, and then I'll leave it down. And if it stays completely compressed, it's probably going to be a little too moist for my taste. When I squeeze it and it falls down and it's still compressed, but then I see it starting to fall apart, that's when I know it's just about perfect. At least that's the rule of thumb that I use for myself. You know, everybody has their own particular techniques and tastes in tobacco and things like that. So my reviews are in no way trying to even pretend to be some sort of standard. It's just one guy's opinion and how the pipe tobacco is. And so just take it for that. But with that said, you know, I've come across great tobaccos primarily through reviews. I know one of my favorites, I talked about this yesterday, the Dragon Blend I got from, I believe, Bremen Pipe Smoker. He's the one I think that reviewed that. That's where I got it from. It's Kohlhaas and Kopp made and in the EU. Interesting behind this, the name. I think originally it was called Premium Blend, and they had to change it because of some EU rule about naming tobaccos. I didn't track that down, so I don't really know the full story behind it. But it's called Dragon Blend right now. Not to be associated, I think, with, what is it, Dragon Flake. I think those are different. At any rate, I love John Aylesbury, and this particular tobacco is actually sprinkled with gin and brandy, and it gives off a very chocolatey flavor, or excuse me, a chocolatey aroma, but also is very rich smoking. If you like aromatics that aren't too heavy, I would definitely recommend this. And also, not the typical fruity kind of experience that you get with John Aylesbury, that at least the other two, the 40 edition that I smoked, was very fruity, and the other anniversary edition I think that I smoked had kind of a summertime, that was it, had kind of a really fruity smell and taste to it. It was very pleasant. I love John Aylesbury, so I was wondering when I first smoked this if this was going to be the same, and it's not. It's very different. So, but still very pleasant. Obviously a very high quality tobacco. Anyway, it's not about that. Let me get back to my Jess Chonowitsch. I've loaded up my pipe, and let's get this puppy going here. Wow, that's really smooth. not, not a very helpful comment. So I can taste, or it seems like there's a little familiar taste of a lot of Kia in here for me. And the Virginia's very background, at least at this point. What I am picking up is kind of that spiciness, if you can call it that one associates with an Oriental blend. It's very pleasant. It's hard to, at least it's hard for me to smoke and then also get the room note. But in the past, when I have walked into a room, somebody smoking a predominantly Oriental blend, it's not quite incensey. That's a word. It is now, I guess. A little neologism from the LA pipe smoker. Incensey. Boy, it smokes up a lot like burley, doesn't it? I don't think there's burley in here. No? Oh, this could easily be a morning pipe, in terms of there's absolutely nothing harsh about this smoke, even at the beginning. Nothing overwhelms me. The only thing that I get at the first part of this pipe, first part of this smoke, is a little, it's not perique, there's no perique in here, but you know how perique kind of tingles your tongue a little bit, it's kind of a spicy kind of thing. Well, this is sort of like that, but without the physical sensation. There's the smell of this kind of deeper spiciness that I associate with blends like Balkan Sobrani, things like that. So it has that element. If you smoked Balkan Sobrani, it has a little bit of that taste, I guess you'd call it. I'm really smoking up my kitchen here. So that's the part that reminds me of burley. Burley, when I think of burley, I think of lots of smoke. If I was like stranded and wanted to make a signal fire, I'd take a bunch of burley and burn it. It was just huge clouds of white smoke. Yeah, this is definitely nice. I wouldn't call it my favorite smoke, at least right now. But it's a nice, easy smoke. If somebody was transitioning from an aromatic to a more English or Scottish blend, I think this would be the ticket. And it's relatively inexpensive. Fairly easy to keep lit. I want to give a shout out to a gentleman scholar who made a VR as a response to my video last night, which I think that's the first time somebody has done an unsolicited VR. And it's kind of nice to have somebody go out of their way with no contest, no other reason than just to respond in like to my presentation. And I kind of like it. It's nice. It gave me a sense of more of a discussion. So I think I might start doing that, actually leaving VRs for people rather than writing my comments in the bottom. I guess that could get out of hand, but it does give a more of a sense of a discussion going on among presenters, perhaps. going to be a busy day, as you heard from my last video last night. So this is kind of the calm before the storm. Perfect time to have a cigar. I generally don't smoke cigars, but I know there are a lot of people who smoke pipes that also are cigar aficionados. And I have nothing against cigars at all. I just prefer a pipe, but when I do smoke a cigar, I really like the Cohiba Robustos. When I was in Guatemala, I got a lot of those from Cuba, and they were, wow, what a great smoke. That's all I can say. And for me, at least, there is definitely a difference between the Dominican Republic produced Cohibas and the Cuban Cohibas. And it has nothing to do with psychosomatic association. I've had people take the tapes off and give me both cigars, and to me it's very apparent, the difference. Both, by the way, high quality cigars. But I don't know, there's just something about that, the Cohiba Cuban cigar that is, for me, unsurpassed. I really, really like those. So a bowl of tobacco in this pipe should last me probably close to an hour, depending upon how I smoke it. But generally, I'm a little lighter on the smoke than I am in my videos because I'm trying to keep it lit and talk at the same time. On a scale of 1 to 10 for this, I think I'd give this probably an 8, definitely. And maybe even higher as a morning smoke. So I'm going to hold on to this. I think I have one more Jess Chonowitsch to go. I think it's number 15, I believe. Either 15 or 16. So I'll have to check that out and work that into my schedule. So for this week, I hope you have a wonderful Saturday and Sunday. And look forward to sharing a pipe with you again soon. Okay? Take care.